Childhood in Taiwan begins not with words but with flavors, with tastes so gentle they feel like lullabies pressed against the tongue, teaching security, comfort, and belonging before a child even learns to read or write. The first memories are often shaped around a breakfast table, steaming bowls of rice porridge so soft it almost dissolves on the lips, sometimes plain, sometimes enriched with slivers of sweet potato or tiny dried fish that provide a whisper of saltiness, and always accompanied by the sight of a parent or grandparent carefully stirring the spoon, cooling it before guiding it into a small mouth. These early foods are not extravagant but symbolic. They embody protection, patience, and the unshakable rhythm of care. Taiwanese households thrive on routine, and cuisine plays the role of anchoring the youngest members to a sense of home. In every neighborhood, the smell of scallion pancakes frying on the griddles of small breakfast shops fills the morning air. The hiss of oil is a sound every child grows up with, paired with the nutty fragrance of soy milk poured into cups, sometimes sweet, sometimes savory, and always warming small hands in the chill of dawn. Childhood is also filled with sweetness, not in excess, but in treats carefully chosen and joyfully shared. Pineapple cakes with buttery pastry hiding a golden core, peanut brittle that cracks between teeth, bowls of shaved ice piled high with red beans, taro, condensed milk, and grass jelly, eaten slowly under summer's relentless heat. These foods mark holidays, rewards after school, visits to grandparents, and small triumphs of everyday life, becoming memory itself, encoded in taste. As children grow, they begin to understand that every dish carries a story, that food is never just food but a channel of unspoken love. Grandmother ladling out sesame oil chicken soup in winter to keep bones strong. Grandfather slicing guavas sprinkled with plum powder in the afternoon as a simple act of affection. Childhood in Taiwan is defined by these flavors of care, humility, and gentle joy, and yet, as the body grows and the spirit longs for more than comfort, adolescence arrives, and with it comes a different, wilder, more adventurous taste of life. If childhood is home and safety, then adolescence is rebellion and exploration, and nowhere is this transformation more visible than in the night markets of Taiwan, glowing galaxies of neon where teenagers first taste freedom. The journey from quiet breakfasts with family to loud nights with friends is marked by food that excites, challenges, and dares the palate. Here, oyster omelets are fried with dramatic flair, their textures confusing, crispy, gooey, slippery, and covered in a sweet-sour sauce that sticks to the lips. Here, stinky tofu, infamous and unapologetic, tests the courage of every teenager who wants to prove themselves bold enough to withstand its pungent smell and its deep-fried crunch that reveals a custardy interior bursting with garlic sauce. Bubble tea becomes less a drink and more a badge of identity, customizable with sugar levels and toppings, carried proudly as teenagers walk in groups, laughing, gossiping, testing independence sip by sip. The fried chicken cutlets, so massive they dwarf the face, are symbols of youthful indulgence, just as pepper buns, hot from clay ovens, with their juicy fillings and crispy crusts, capture the excitement of discovering something unexpectedly satisfying. These foods are chaotic, messy, loud, and unapologetically bold, mirroring the storms of adolescence itself. The arguments at home, the desire for independence, the heartbreak of first loves, and the joy of shared secrets among friends. The adolescent table is no longer confined to family dinners but expands to include stalls, sidewalks, and crowded night markets, where freedom tastes of fried squid brushed with soy glaze, candied hawthorn skewers that crackle under the teeth, sweet potato balls puffed and golden, eaten by the handful as though the night itself might end if the food runs out. And yet, even in this stage of experimentation, Taiwanese cuisine continues to offer lessons. Hot pot teaches the art of sharing, each ingredient chosen and cooked together, while herbal teas and grass jelly remind youth that even indulgence must find balance, that the body needs cooling after heat, calm after chaos. Thus, childhood and adolescence together form the first great arc of life, a movement from sweetness to boldness, from dependence to autonomy, and Taiwanese cuisine not only reflects this transformation but actively guides it, holding hands when needed, loosening the grip when it is time to wander, always reminding those who eat that food is memory, food is identity, and food is the invisible map by which life's first steps are taken. Adulthood in Taiwan is rarely a sudden leap but rather a slow layering of responsibilities, much like the way a proper Taiwanese bento box is constructed, each component placed with care, each flavor balanced, the meal designed not for indulgence but for nourishment, efficiency, and sustenance. This is the stage where the exuberance of youth gives way to the quiet but unrelenting demands of work, family, and duty, and the cuisine reflects this shift in focus. Gone are the reckless nights of greasy indulgence, replaced by the steady comfort of home-cooked meals that root the body and mind in stability. A bowl of braised pork rice, simple yet deeply satisfying, becomes symbolic of adulthood itself. The pork belly slowly stewed in soy sauce, rock sugar, and spices until tender, poured over plain white rice that absorbs its richness, providing energy for long days at the office or nights spent balancing work and family life. The beef noodle soup, with its layers of complexity, broth simmered for hours, beef chunks soft enough to yield under the chopsticks, noodles that carry the flavor of effort and patience, becomes not just a dish but a metaphor for persistence, the adult ability to wait, to endure, to sacrifice short-term ease for long-term reward. Adulthood in Taiwan also means banquets and gatherings, for life is not lived alone, and weddings, birthdays, and festivals are marked by round tables filled with shared dishes. Steamed fish symbolizing abundance, stir-fried greens for health, shrimp tossed with garlic for joy, and platters that stretch the table's length, each one a reminder that adulthood is not only about one's own survival but about contribution, generosity, and participation in a greater whole. And in the quieter moments, adulthood is a wife packing a husband's lunchbox, a father peeling an apple for his child, a colleague offering a box of mochi during the Mid-Autumn Festival, small acts where food is love disguised as practicality. It is a stage where food teaches that life is not simply about indulgence or experimentation but about balance, nourishment, and continuity, that to cook and to share is to care. Then comes old age, the final stage, where time slows and the body asks for gentleness, and cuisine, once again, shifts accordingly. The foods of old age in Taiwan are lighter, simpler, easier to digest, but rich in memory and meaning. Congee returns, flavored with pickled mustard greens or tiny anchovies, echoing the porridge of childhood but now carrying the weight of a lifetime of experiences, a reminder that life is circular, not linear. Steamed sweet potatoes, humble and earthy, evoke the struggles of earlier generations, when Taiwan was poorer and meals were simpler, yet also carry the sweetness of resilience, the knowledge that survival is itself a triumph. Herbal teas, brewed not for pleasure alone but for health, ginseng, chrysanthemum, goji berries, become daily rituals, each sip both soothing and medicinal, sustaining an aging body and calming a reflective mind. Festivals bring tangyuan, glutinous rice balls filled with sesame or peanut paste, floating in ginger syrup during Lunar New Year, sweet and soft, eaten as families gather, reminding elders that though their bodies age, their role as keepers of tradition and transmitters of memory endures. In this final stage, cuisine becomes less about indulgence or even sustenance and more about storytelling. Each dish carries within it decades of repetition, of hands stirring, chopping, seasoning, teaching. Elders pass recipes down to children and grandchildren not merely to preserve flavor but to ensure that memory itself survives, that when they are gone, their essence lingers in the taste of braised pork, the aroma of chicken soup, the crunch of fried radish cakes at Lunar New Year. Old age, then, is not a fading but a distillation, a stage where life's flavors are concentrated, simplified, and savored slowly, where every bite is less about filling the stomach and more about recalling the fullness of a life lived. Thus, Taiwanese cuisine completes the cycle of existence, from the comforting porridge of childhood to the rebellious snacks of adolescence, the grounding banquets of adulthood to the reflective soups of old age. Food remains the constant thread binding all stages together. To eat in Taiwan is to live, to grow, to change, and ultimately to remember, for in every bite there is not only flavor but time, and in every shared dish, there is love passed from one generation to the next.